Hi everybody, welcome to Tuesday Tactics. Welcome to Varsa Volume. Welcome to another week of going over Hansi Flick's tactics against Levante specifically. And let me tell you, I have a lot of things to say about Hansi Flick, about how the Barcelona played in the first half, about Barcelona played in the second half, and why we were so much better. So you guys want to make sure you stick around. But before we get started, guys, look at this number right here. 3,000 subscribers. You have no idea how excited I am that the growth of this channel. I think about a month ago I was posting that I reached 2,000, and here we are with 3,000 subscribers, and you guys have no idea how much you mean to me. Thank you for subscribing, thank you for liking all my videos, and thank you for commenting every single time. You guys are amazing. I don't know how else to say it, but guys, let's get into it. All right, so I think right off the bat, I think we did make a mistake of bringing in. I did like by the way, I did like RASHFORD in the first half, but I do think that it was a little bit of a mistake in the sense that we put in RAPHINHA at the 10. It was nice to try that. I love I love the fact that we were willing to change things around, but what I did not love is Levante was a tough place to play, and I thought we underestimated. This was literally another mistake by Hansi Flick in that sense, because I think it reminds me of that Osasuna game from last season, when we went to play at Osasuna, and we really underestimated them, and they beat us 4-2. I remember that, and I remember that in the first half of this game. That's exactly what I was thinking. Now, I want to say this. I've gotten a lot of pushback about this, but I've heard a lot of experts talked about these kinds of things. You can see right here in these areas how Levante was muddying up this game. It was extremely wet. This field had no business being this wet. Honestly, Levante really wanted to muddy up this game, and that is one thing that I do want to make sure I bring my point across. I'm not blaming the fact that the field was muddy to say that this is why we struggled in the first half. No, we struggled in the first half because we made mistakes. We experimented way too much. We underestimated our opponent, and if that happens in La Liga, you are going to have problems, because La Liga teams are better than you think. But anyway, one of the things I do want to bring up here real quick is it's just how good Marcus Rashford was in the beginning. I think he was getting involved. Hansi Flick did a good job of having a good game plan to have the offense go through him. He was playing very, very comfortable with the team. I thought that he was making really good runs, really good pacing. He was trying to get a few assists. I think in this play, I know he was a little bit crowded, but maybe if he would have tried like a diagonal cross, I don't know, something is happening with this team. Like, we cannot do diagonal crosses. You know how dangerous they are? They're insanely dangerous. As we can see, there was three players from Barcelona there that could have just closed the gap there, but we just didn't try. Now, one of the things that I do want to point out is the HIGHLINE, right? So I think Balde, in a few occasions, I think he's way off, and the HIGHLINE was working in the first half, but at the same time, the HIGHLINE is not perfect. It still needs to be better, and I think this is one of the reasons why we struggle in the first half. And Levante which is way off here, but it's just kind of a sign of things to come, because this happened in the 7th minute. And we were lucky not to get concede here. But as we're gonna see in just a few plays, this guy scores, right? But fortunately he was offsides. So here's another example of the HIGHLINE, right? We did a good job on the HIGHLINE for the most part in the first half, but the problem is the few times that the HIGHLINE is not going to work, we are just gonna be just too exposed. And this player right here, he's playing the HIGHLINE to perfection. So my thing here is that Araujo, and this is more of a Flick thing. It's not an Araujo thing, in my opinion. Because what the normal thing that would happen here is like, because this player is about to pass in space, right? So what should happen is that Araujo should be, let me highlight him real quick. Araujo should be tracking in this direction right here. So he should be tracking this direction to get to the spot, right? But when you try to play the high line, that's what they teach you, and that's what you're supposed to do. But when you do that, the problem is that you leave in the player too much spacing to work with. As you can see, you see the stutter move from Araujo. That leaves the player with an advantage here to go into space. And by the way, for those who laughed at me about me saying that Levante muddy up the game, if you guys can see how wet this is right here, look at how wet that is. You guys can laugh at me all you want, but the game was extremely wet, and it didn't need to be. But like I said, but Araujo at that point, he's going to track back. The problem here is also this guy right here by himself. Nobody's with him. We need to figure out what's going on here, because why is this player all by himself all the way down in the right flank? And maybe that's an indictment on Balde. Maybe that's an indictment on Lamine Yamal. Somebody has to track back and help out. And I know Balde right here, he's really central, right? He's covering up for Araujo, who went wide. But in reality, then that's Eddie Garcia there, who is missing the assignment, right? Eddie Garcia was in no man's land in this play, so now we have to compensate, and we have a player wide open. Now, here's the CUBARSI play that everyone was talking about. I think, people say, it's CUBARSI stinker. It's not just so much that it was a stinker. He makes a terrible play, and that's what we do as Barca fans, and that's what we do as Madrid fans. We over exaggerate things, and this was a bad play. So a bad play doesn't mean you had a stinker of a night, but it just to point it out, right? So for example, why is this player wide open? Why is there no midfield support? Where is Casado? Casado is let me see if I can see him on the screen. You can't really see him on the screen, but Casado, Casado is right here, way back. So in a play like this, I need to have Casado support a little bit more, because we can't have a player all by himself in the middle there. So he's gonna get the ball, right? So I thought he was just going to shoot here, but CUBARSI now tracks back to him, and he's going to do a fake shot, right? And then CUBARSI is just going to be silly here and just eat it. So as a defender, right, what you need to be doing here is just staying in your spot. Just stay in your spot. Try to stay in front of the ball. Try to block the ball. But he tried to guess where the player was going and try to get the steal rather than getting the block. That's really where my problem is with this play. And as soon as he tries to get the steal, he goes with the fake. See, he goes with the fake, and you can't sell out like that, especially with no support there. You can't do that. I mean, I'm sorry, CUBARSI, you can't do that. That looks very silly. You're leaving. This is why I said you guys have to be patient with John Garcia, because our defense is going to let leave the goalkeeper in no man's land. This is out to dry right here. This is. I mean, I guess Araujo there could have just taken a slide tackle. He could have been a little bit put a little bit more pressure on the attacker, but he doesn't. It takes too long, and at least I want to see Araujo there. Try to get a slide tackle or something. See if he can compensate there for a little bit. So in this play, I want to show a little bit of how good we were playing with RASHFORD. I like what I'm seeing with RASHFORD. I do see a lot of mobility. I see a lot of things that can become something for this attack. And some people make fun of us because he's not scoring, he's not assisting. It's a matter of time, guys. before you say anything about Rashford, remember Mbappe last season, the first 10 games, people were saying he was a flop. Okay, so before you overreact, before you hear to this lazy analysis, people, just think of that. Think of everything that Mbappe went through last season. I thought Rashford was very good. Look, like I said, one of the things that I do see is the chemistry with Balde. He's going to try to make it seem like he's going to the right here, but he's going to let Balde do the overlapping. And if you think this is just very simple, look at how Real Madrid fails to do this with Carreras every single time. And even Vinicius doesn't see him. Sometimes even Rodrigo doesn't see the overlap. And the fact that, Rashford's doing that, I think it's worthy of note. So you see that? That's unfortunately we didn't have the bodies. Levante has this play well defended. They have they have this a super crowded. They have a super crowded, right? They have a super crowded box right here. So there's not a lot of room for Barcelona to operate. And even then, Ferran Torres almost got the score there. But I think for Rashford in the first half, look, that's the 35th minute. He was participating. He was tracking back. I think he was okay. I mean, he didn't have the best game, but I think he had an okay game, in my opinion. So this is, the change of pacing on Pedro Gonzalez here. He was trying to warn Levante for what was coming. He doesn't get this good shot, but the change of pace and how the game slows down for him, it's just crazy, man. It's so hard to put it into perspective. On when it comes to Pedro Gonzalez, he's just the best in the world, man. Like that's how you put it. So one of the things I want to point out in this play is I thought Levante has done a very good job on Lamine Yamal. Even the commentators were saying that Lamine Yamal was having an off night. I thought it was in part, and let me highlight that, in part. Okay, I thought it was extremely wet, extremely slippery. Not an excuse, but it was something that Levante did in this game. Now, did they set up a great block to defend Lamine Yamal? Yes. Did Morales had one of the best jobs I've ever seen somebody defend Lamine Yamal? Yes, he was guessing. He knew where Lamine was going. He was actually doing a one of the better jobs any defender has ever done. I thought Levante had the support when Lamine Yamal went past him. Levante had an answer for Lamine Yamal, and they also blocked the shot that he likes to take as well. So Lamine Yamal was really struggling in this game, and we can see here. You see you see right there. That's Lamine also underestimating Morales here, and thinking that he's just gonna blow past him, and he was guessing him. And every single time, fortunately, Eric Garcia was able to get this ball back, and were able to still have the attack. As we can see, Eric Garcia is just going to take a cross, and we couldn't finish it. But this is one of those things that I thought that it was worth it pointing out, that even a Lamine Yamal stinker, right? Like people said that it was a stinker. In my opinion, it wasn't, because I think Lamine, he was asking for the ball constantly. And Barcelona down 0-2, and Lamine just really felt like he needed to make something happen. But we're going to talk about that in just a little bit. Before I want to talk about kind of like this plays right here. Like I sometimes Ferran had an okay game, but I just feel like sometimes he's too far away from his area. And this is what I like about Lewandowski, for example. Like, he's always going to be there. Now, the nice thing about that is that you can connect with different players and do different things at the same time. But I do want my number 9 to stay more committed to that number 9 spot. Raphinha here does get a good cross. Raphinha, to talk about him, in the first half, he was non-existent. Like, he just didn't have the best of games playing at the 9, because in a few instances, right, when the ball, for example, like if let's say that Lamine has the ball, right? Let's say that Lamine has the ball. I've saw this in a couple of times. Instead of Raphinha, instead of going to support as a 10, Raphinha as kind of like as a default setting, right? He would just make a run. And I'm like, Raphinha, you're running away from the build-up. You need to be building up the game, not just running into space. But he's an attacker. He's a natural, right? He's a winger. So that's what wingers do. They try to make pacey runs and stuff like that. But when you're playing the 10, that's what Barcelona was lacking support. And in the second half, it really showed. This was a great opportunity here. Unfortunately, we couldn't get a score. But, Pedri, right? So Pedri makes something out of nowhere, dude. He puts this ball right in between here. And, okay, so this is something that people are not going to like, what I'm going to say. But this is my frustration with Ferran Torres, okay? I mean, this is a goal 10 times out of 10 times if Mbappe has this opportunity. This has to be a goal. And if Barcelona wants to go places this season, when we create something this clear, this has to be a goal to me. And the fact that he didn't take the easy cross, I think he overshot it, overconfident. Sometimes you're just overthinking the game, man. You take a super hard shot here, and it's totally unnecessary. You don't need to do that. So he hits the woodwork, and like, come on, man. Like, just finish it, man. Just do the finish. Do the lazy finish from a typical number 9. Finish the damn play. Just put it in the back of the net, brother. That's all I'm gonna say. But like I said, this is still the first half, and Lamine Yamal, he's still trying to figure out a way how he can impact the game by doing this give and goes. I thought it was actually okay, but then a few times where he actually had his shot, it was too weak. He didn't put enough strength, and there was no shot in hell that he could have done anything there in reality. So okay, so set pieces was a problem as well, and this was one of the examples. I thought that this was a play that we could have defended better. This is a play where we needed Koundé, we need size, we need Araujo. I think Araujo at the same time, I think Araujo is just way back. Ideally, right? I think I would like Araujo just to be around this area right here, because he's one of the bigger bodies. He has no business being way back there. And this cross should never have been this dangerous. And unfortunately, fortunately for us, this didn't go in. But don't get mistake about it. If that almost went in. Had it gone in, it was a clear goal. It was no upside. So, needless to say, it wasn't one of Lamine Yamal's best games. But what it is concerning, though, is his overconfidence in transition. And what I mean by that is, like, this is the second game where Lamine Yamal gets the ball, gets a rebound, and he gets attacked. He gets annihilated. And I don't know if teams are seeing that. But when they defend him in transition like this, because see, the game's already over. I don't know why this play is still going on. Like, I get that the referee is trying to let the game play on, but the 48th minute has already passed and gone, and he only gave 3 minutes in this game. So, but what I was gonna say is, like, Lamine Yamal is getting defended in these rebounds extremely well, and it's getting Barcelona off guard every single time. It happened against Mallorca. We all saw it when he lost the ball, right? And now same thing happened here. And he's going to just not get a good control. Pedri, he's not where he should be. I mean, it's not like he's expecting us to lose the ball there. He didn't think Lamine will lose the control, but just losing this ball is going to create chaos for Barcelona, big time. And that's the second time I've seen Lamine Yamal get a rebound, and in transition he gets annihilated. He gets dispossessed, and then we get a mistake. See, he tried to slide, and then Pedri also tried to slide. So what I do want to say on Pedri there, Pedri or Casado, just make the damn foul, man. Get that yellow. Who cares? Why are we gonna let Levante go in transition to get this play? So again, the same issues I saw from Inter Milan are coming back. Like, we need more experience. We need to be more poised. We need to have more experience in general, just in this play exactly. Pedri, when he slid, I think he should have just fouled the guy instead. But it doesn't happen, and now Balde has to track back. I thought Balde did an incredible job here. Like, he's as a left back, tracking back instead of your CBs is incredible. And Rafinha is tracking back as well. Rafinha is doing a good job in this play. But honestly, man, like I don't get. We're gonna talk about this play. Balde makes two unbelievable plays. The first one was when he slid like that. He blocked the shot. Didn't give it an opportunity. Didn't even give John Garcia an opportunity to stop it. And then, he blocks the shot. But in reality, if we can see that play like that, how is Balde? I guess he should have remembered to put his hands back in 2020 hindsight, right? But if you look at this play right here, Balde should have his hands behind him, to be fair. But he doesn't have a lot of time to react. So the ball's going to hit his hand right there. So at least he's tucking his hand back in, but I don't think he's making his body bigger, because at the end of the day, that's really what the call should be. If he's making his body bigger, then yes, you should be calling that. But the fact that it hits him right by the chest, I think, to me, that's not a penalty. So in the second half, like I said, look, Levante. Okay, so this play, I think sometimes Lamine Yamal can be a little bit more passive. Try to find those lanes. Try to have attack a little bit more. And Dani Olmo right here, he's all by himself. Nobody's marking him. So Lamine Yamal needs to learn how to read the game a little bit better when he's getting marked. Because the team opponents are leaving Barcelona players all by themselves, and Olmo in this play was all by himself, and we were not able to find him there, unfortunately, and it's going to be the theme going forward. So one thing that I think is worthy of note is in this game, right? I think two goals in the second half within I think it was within 5 minutes. Barcelona, I think it was actually 3 minutes. Barcelona was tied this game 2-2, and in big part it was due to set pieces. So set pieces were huge in the game against Levante, to be honest. And this is going to come out of a corner kick, right? Look at the given goals here between Raphinha and Lamine Yamal, and this is a thing of beauty, right? He's gave it to Pedri. Pedri is all by himself, and bang, dude, game changer. That shot from Pedri was insane, man. It was an unbelievable shot. It sparked the comeback. It sparked the remontada. I thought we needed every ounce of that play, but it came out of a set piece. Now, people will say, Lamine Yamal had a bad game. Lamine Yamal had a bad game, but everything Barcelona was doing was on his side. And he was just relentless, asking for the ball constantly, trying to make something happen. The last 30 minutes of this game, he was a force, man. And like I said, he kept trying. Sometimes, for example, this play, right? Nobody's going to talk about this play. But that's why you follow this channel. Okay, so he goes right on a one-on-one, Lamine Yamal, right, provokes the corner. And out of that corner, what is going to happen? The second goal. So that's just how involved Lamine Yamal is in this offense, okay? This is why when Lamine Yamal is not playing, we feel his absence. It's not just because he's scoring goals. He's making things happen on the field. And that's the one thing that I think I want you guys to take on. Is like, sometimes you don't get the assist, you don't get the goal, but look at what Lamine Yamal there, provoking that corner that eventually, gets the job done to get this game. And, Ferran Torres, to his credit, though, I don't want to just bash on him. I think he had an okay game, he gets the scoreboard. He gets in the scoreboard every single time he has a shot of playing for Barca. So you can't really judge him too much for missing opportunities, because he still gets the job done. So this is gonna be, like I said, this is gonna be another example here of the highline, right? So the highline, we're supposed to here this is where we miss Inigo Martinez. Eddie Garcia is just too. I think he needs to be closer to the line. He's the one who ultimately is leaving the player onside, and we were lucky not to concede, because that's the thing when you play the highline. The teams are going to have opportunities to just kill you in transition, because if they, one or two times they're going to beat the highline. If they are, if they have a lot of accuracy, and they have, like, for example, like 2 chances, 2 goals, then that's when Barcelona gets in trouble there. And we were lucky here that it wasn't the best. They didn't capitalize it the best, but John Garcia was there to stop it. This is going to be another example here in transition, right? We're playing, and they're finding a lot of spaces in between the numbers, and that's the one thing that I was worried about. I think, right here, right? I mean, I wish we had a much better setup here, and Araujo just also sells out big time and leaves all this spacing here. I think we should be doing a much better job of not creating all this space. Fortunately for us, he doesn't control it very well, and he doesn't take the hardest shot. But John Garcia, like I said, he's always there, man, always there. As I was telling you guys, Lamine Yamal, man, always trying, always a force, always a force. He's going to try to get a shot here. So unfortunately, right, in my opinion here, so he doesn't see Dani Olmo again make that run. I want to see Lamine play a little bit more with Dani Olmo. I think it would be good for him. I think we can get a lot more things. So this is still, Barcelona makes a great play here, but I want to see Ferran Torres just get this header, man. Just header with more emphasis here. And typically what they teach you is you gotta either try to header this way, or you gotta either just go straight. But if you go straight, you need to header down. You need to header down instead of what he tried to do there. I don't know. Like he just didn't have the best technique on that header. So this is a play that I want to show, because this was a miracle, man. How did this play how was this not a goal? Defender gets a deflection and somehow hits the head of the goalkeeper, and it doesn't go in, man. I can't believe this. It was ridiculous. This is a miracle that it wasn't a goal. So, like I said, Lamine Yamal in the last 30 minutes of this game just kept trying. Levante had the best setup, the perfect setup, the perfect game plan, and still couldn't stop it. Now, one thing that we need to is worthy of note is that Barcelona with Eddie Garcia, we can at times play with the 3-4 with the 3-5-4, which is actually no, I'm sorry, with the 3 with the 3-3-4, because this is exactly what we played in the second half. We went out with 4 attackers in this game. That's how we were able to create more chaos. But I think that with Eddie Garcia, we can play 3 at the back, because he can play CB. But with Conde, the chemistry that Conde has with Lamine, to me, is just out of this world. And it's not going to be a big pass, right? But what I do want to highlight is that I thought when he came on, Lamine had more support, especially on offense. And I think Lamine struggled in the first half with Eddie Garcia. Now, they have played before, and they have played extremely well. But I think it's just worthy of note. But like I said, even Lamine, look, getting marked on perfectly. 3 players here in line to mark Lamine Yamal. And I'm not saying all 3 of them are marking him, just saying like this is the setup that Levante has. But Lamine, he tries to find a way to impact the game. So that's the thing. Like if you give him space, and I've said this before, if you give him space, he's going to cross and try to find Raphinha, Lewandowski, or Ferran. If you try to mark him, he'll dribble you out of it. So this is why Lamine is so unstoppable. And at the end of the game, he was able to create this chance that ultimately give Barcelona the victory. And Ferran doesn't get it, the defender does, and we were extremely lucky to get this goal. So that's the one thing that I would take away from this game is we cannot be underestimating our opponents. I think every single time we try something new, it has to be when we're winning. It has to be on the second half when the game is in control. But in this instance, starting off like this reminded me of Osasuna. Now, let me know, guys, how do you see the game? Did you think any different than what I said in this video? We can all disagree, man. We don't have to have agreements every single time. It's okay. It's okay, but I do appreciate every single one of you. I have 3,000 subscribers. I cannot believe it. So now we're starting our road to 4,000 subscribers. So if you haven't subscribed to this channel yet, please consider subscribing if you like this type of content. If you like Barcelona content, all things Barcelona we cover on this channel. So guys, thank you for watching, and I'll catch you guys on the next video.